Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversations are pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Did you bring your thinking caps? Because it's time to put them on. Because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You're back at the spot, the location, the place where the conversation is pointed and the guests are sharp and the responses are never dull. Today, we're going to reinvent your space with Dianne Pascoa. Brains, let me tell you, I don't know where you've been, but she is all over the media. I've shared her clips. She's an award winner. She's in magazines. She's a designer. She's a mom. She's a woman with a very interesting journey. So we're going to redesign all of our spaces. We're going to incorporate all of that to create the most beautiful ambiance. Maybe it's your home. Maybe it's your business. It's your office. Maybe it's your kid's nursery. But what is it to have a texture, to feel, to have a vibe? Dianne's going to tell us all about that. Welcome her to the show. How are you, Dianne?
I am so good. Thank you so much, April. I am very excited to be here. I've been very much looking forward to it.
I've been looking forward to it too because it's fun. I'm a creative, so I know what it's like to be in that headspace. Sometimes you're all over the place, and sometimes your office looks like a train wreck. And my husband goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm creating."
Yeah, very true. Very true.
But again, it's a process. Tell us how your process began, what's your story, and how did design find you?
Yeah. So how did design find me? Well, I've always loved it. I've always been a designer, just by nature. The family member that was kind of the go-to, or the friend, ask Dianne for advice, that type of thing. But honestly, it was a hobby. Um, it was a passion, but never in my wildest dreams did I ever think it would end up being a career.
Mm.
Eh, yeah, yeah. So I spent most of my life, over 25 years, in a corporate culture. Had built a beautiful career, enjoyed the work that I was doing. You know what? To be perfectly honest, I it was during the pandemic, and I think the pandemic changed a lot of us and how we look at things and how we were looking at life. And I just found myself, we were working from home. Everyone was, working from home at that time. And at first, I thought it was great because I had a very busy job, very busy career, that took me, many places. So I actually welcomed the slowing down. Um, but after a while, I just one day, and it was a progression, but one day, really, I just remember thinking to myself, I can't imagine doing this for another 20, 25 years.
Girl, I know.
Yeah.
That's what we have here in the US. It's called the Great Resignation. Nobody's going back to work. But the thing about it is people don't understand, and I'm sure you can attest to this, is that being an entrepreneur is on the grind. It's
Oh,
24/7. People think, oh, I've got freedom, I've got flexibility. You know what? You may have that, but you may not have benefits. You may not be able to take that vacation that you want. You may be talking to clients at 10 o'clock at night in a different country. You may owe your taxes. I get on people about their taxes because they think it's a slush fund.
mm,
And a jobby hobby is great, but even if you're doing it as a jobby hobby, you want to produce your best.
yeah.
So give me a checklist. When you're looking for an interior designer,
Mhm.
um, give me the top four things that we should consider.
The top four things. Well, I think the most important thing is connection. First and foremost, I think it is extremely important that if you're going to be working with anyone, specifically entrusting them with your home, that there definitely needs to be connection. There needs to be trust. There needs to be open communication, complete transparency. There's four there, but it is extremely important, all of those facets when working with a designer. Of course, you want to look at their work, what they've done in the past, which sometimes can actually, I don't know if misleading is the right term, because, for example, when I work with clients, I am a huge believer in making a client's home a direct reflection of who they are.
Mm.
So when people walk into your home, this space is just so you. And so there are some designers who have a specific style, and want to work with people who fit within that style. So my business, my work is different in the sense that there is a lot of upfront work that takes place, where I really get to know you on a pretty personal level. Again, it's that relationship development, trust. Um, I think the other thing too is, so I specialize in remodels, renovations, managing those projects from beginning to end. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, being the facilitator between the client and the trades. And it's stressful. It's
Of
and when
course.
yeah, and so when I say it's stressful, it is a stressful process for clients. And so I've been through many renovation projects, big reno projects within my own home. So I can really appreciate what the client is going through, the different phases, and be able to hold them, and that anxiety they may have
Right.
around, yeah, is this going to turn
That's it.
out? Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
and I'll tell you, the illusion of television. You look at television and you see these, we'll get to the DIYs in a minute, but you look at, a quick home makeover.
Yeah.
You're working brains and you're looking at a skilled designer, and you are also looking at television. Okay. You get one of these projects, you go into this house, you pull down the wall, you've got asbestos and mold. You got to get rid of that first. Then your
Absolutely.
design element, your colors, because this is not something that's going to be a redo. I used to like that one show where people would switch homes
Yes.
and they would redesign based upon, and girl, sometimes you come out with hullabaloo. It is a mess.
Yeah.
So you, again, like you said, you really have to intimately spend some time to get into these people's heads, see what their vibe is like, see what their colors are like, see how many people, that they entertain in their home. Do
Yes.
they want to have that kind of space? Do they have animals? Is it a place where they need a mud room? Maybe in California, you wouldn't need a mud room, but
Exactly.
you might need a yoga room. So all
Exactly.
these things are very intricate. But to hire a designer is not cheap, and it shouldn't be, Brains,
Yeah.
because this is something that you're going to have at least for 7 to 10 years. You're not going to do
Yes.
this again.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Here's the thing about hiring a designer. Um, I look at it, and how I explain it to my clients and potential clients is, it is an investment. It's
That's
an
right.
investment in your home, and I, for one, try to make the process as seamless as possible for my clients. And I actually don't work by the hour, So I don't charge hourly. I do a whole review of the scope of the project, and it is a flat fee. That way, but even before my client is, we get into the project, they already know what to expect in terms of what the spend is going to be. And I think it's so important. I also want to mention that a lot of people, when doing projects in their home, forget, or maybe don't even know we're actually talking about, depending on what it is, because sometimes it's just furnishings, artwork, things like that. But when there is construction involved, you're looking at three different budgets. You're looking at budget for your designer, You're looking at a purchasing budget for your finishes, artwork, textiles, carpets, what have you. And then you have your construction budget.
Right.
So, right. So part of what I do for my clients is before the contract is ever even signed, I present them with um, budget estimates, and we make an agreement at that time. This is what I'm comfortable with, or this is the max budget, or what have you. And we can both move forward confidently, knowing that, okay, me as a designer, all right, I have this much to play with. And my clients knowing I'm not going to be invoiced every few weeks.
Right. You're not going to nickel and dime them.
That's
That's
right.
that's so classless. You know, again,
Yes.
you have an idea. This is your field of expertise. You shop, you can get things wholesale, you can get things, you know, you may get them at a discount store. One of my favorite stores, Home Goods. I love
Yeah.
that. You know,
I love
but
home
you know,
goods
but
too.
again, the big box retailers, they know you. You
Yeah.
know about scaling and size. People will, I've done it. I've bought a
Yeah.
couch and I'm like, oh my God, I got it home. It didn't look that big in the showroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take your measuring tape out because this is no do-over. Now, let me ask you a fun question. Have you
Mhm.
ever had, and be honest, a
Yep.
design nightmare?
Um, I I've had less than ideal clients in
Okay.
terms of a bit
Because
of
what happens
a
is people are real fickle. They'll get in and they'll love absolutely everything. And then once it's done, oh, they're gonna pick and pull and poke and don't like this and don't like that.
oh
You got an extra 3 or 4 weeks, if not returns, on your hands. How do you handle those
no.
clients?
Oh no, April, that has never happened. And
Oh, good.
so part of my process is all of these. First of all, they get, I mean, I have concept boards. I take them through 3D virtuals of what their space is going to look
Mm.
like. Nothing is left to the imagination. They
Oh, great.
literally, oh yes, they sign off on everything. I may come with the initial vision, but and make the selections, but they sign off in every phase of the project. So no, it's never happened where, installation is done and it's, oh my gosh, I don't like it. Thank goodness that hasn't happened.
Well, it takes, it is beyond customer service. It's
Yeah.
almost psychological profiling because you have an idea what this person is going to, they change their mind 4 or 5 times. You're going to allow them to make more of the decision and talk more, and you talk less. Listen to what they're saying, get engaged more. Again, look at the contributing circumstances. I mean, this one woman, another designer I had on the show, completely did the house. It was, $50,000 in renovation, and then they divorced.
Yeah.
Then they divorced, and then they had to separate everything, and they argued over the couch. The couch was one of the sticking points. So it's a lot involved in that. It's a lot of emotion. It's a lot of
There is.
emotion.
There is. And at the end of the day, for me, creating of course, functional, always functional, but beautiful, stunning space that is a reflection of who you are. It's that emotional connection that is being created in terms of my clients' experiences,
Have
right?
you ever had an unlimited budget?
Have I ever had no, there is, you know what? There, even if we are into six-figure budgets, there is, I've always experienced a cap. There's, but what I do tell my clients is we have this budget, but but um plan for, not that it's going to happen, but plan for a generous, 20% over that. Because especially when construction is involved, we do not know necessarily what we're going to find when we're knocking down walls, right?
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? The thing of it is that I have seen some of your work, honey. And this is, we're not talking about just, your DIY, do it
No,
yourself. No, these are grand, beautiful, lightings, fixtures, crystals, mirrors, big fluffy couches. You do some stunning work. So
thank you.
my hat's off to you on that.
Thank you.
Let's
Thank
talk
you.
about lighting fixtures. I just
Yes.
went through that.
Okay.
Uh, Someone told me, she says, more is more. And I was going to get this little chandelier, and I went and got something massive. Of course, it's the focal piece of the room, but people absolutely love it.
Yes.
What do you think about when you talk about lighting? Some people like the little dim lighting on the side of the fireplaces. What do you think? Because I've seen some of your work. It's gorgeous.
Thank you. Lighting is for me, it's crucial. It's crucial to a space. And it's not necessarily that you have to get the huge fixture with the crystals or and all the bling. If that's not your style, that's fine. What's important and super important for people to realize is size matters.
Mm.
So if you have a large kitchen, I've seen people put little 8-inch, 10-inch lighting fixtures in a room, and they basically get swallowed up. They disappear. No, you have to make sure that the lighting that you select is proportionate to the space. And honestly, for me, I love the bling. My own personal,
I
I
love
love
bling too.
Lush. I love Lush and all that beauty that goes with it. The lights in my home, my personal home, are definitely focal points, and yeah, I love that about them. But of course, you want your selections are based on what's going to complement your space.
Mhm.
But yeah, fixture size is one of the most common mistakes that I see being made. And it's usually too small for the space.
Right, but you know what? It's very confusing because you go into these, home improvement stores and you see all of this lighting. You have no idea of really what that's going to look like in your home.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it can be much smaller. It could be much larger. So I bought mine, brought it home, took it out the box, held it up, and it was perfect. But
Perfect.
again, and brains, if you do the bling and the crystal, invest in somebody to come and clean it once a year. There's nothing worse than dusty bling.
Yes. Oh, that is so true. Mine actually need to be cleaned.
Well, you don't know. A friend of mine, she has a service. She goes in and does it. And I mean, it is
Yes.
very meticulous because those crystals are very, very expensive. Let's talk about flooring. Flooring
Yes.
has changed and evolved so much.
Yes.
I know, call it old school if you want. I'm still a fan of carpeting. I like to walk barefoot and I
Yep.
like to have the carpet squishing between my toes. It makes me
Yep.
feel good. However, there is a lot of wood floors that are very
Yes.
popular, and they have these tiles now that look like wood flooring.
Yes. Yes.
So,
And
and I've seen some beautiful stuff there. What is the trends? Are people, are they doing the wood floorings and just doing some throw rugs, or it just depends on the space?
yeah, it definitely depends on the space, depends on your taste. Some people like to go with the warmer look on their flooring. So you see a lot of luxury vinyl plank right now. So
Mm.
it's man-made, it's engineered. But it is actually, some of it can get pricey, but on the whole, it's less expensive and more durable, especially if you have pets, small children,
Mhm, mhm.
than your traditional true hardwood floor. Okay,
That
so
makes
there's
sense.
that. And I mean, yes. And so when you install those kind of floors, of course, you're going to want to put some texture in there with some beautiful area rugs. And there are, oh my gosh, it's crazy the amount of different piles, styles that you can select from. It really depends on your likes and dislikes.
Right.
There is, of course, tile, which forever will be, I absolutely adore tile. There are,
What do you think about, and again, all this brains is very individualized. I'm just basing it off my spot.
yeah,
Themes. I carry my color theme throughout my home.
yeah.
So, mine is blue and gray,
Hmm.
navy blue and gray. And I have a touch of navy blue and gray in every room. I like that because I can accent the pillows, I can change the curtains, I can get a coat of paint, but my main staples are the couch and the lighting and the coffee table. Those things I kind of keep neutral. What do you think about carrying a theme through the house?
No, I think again, it goes back to your what you like. There's obviously, if you're carrying a theme throughout your entire home, it adds flow, and that, and it actually opens up your spaces because your rooms are, the same color palette.
Mhm.
I do agree with you with having the, let's say, more expensive pieces as perhaps lighting fixtures, couch, furnishing be your timeless pieces that, so then with the seasons, or if there are emerging trends that you would like to try out, you can bring those colors. I love color personally, but see, you could bring those pops of colors through accessories,
Right, right.
throw pillows, a throw, beautiful home goods has beautiful accessories,
Oh
for,
yeah, a
yeah, yeah,
beautiful vase, or
exactly.
flowers, and plants. I like plants. Everybody is
Yes.
different. Everybody doesn't like plants, but it seems to really kind of make my space feel alive. To have really good plants. But brains, you got to take care of them.
Yes, you have, and they are actually, and I think this is probably common knowledge, having plants within your home, especially in an office space, if you work from home, there are a lot of health benefits
Yes.
associated, with having plants, and the added oxygen that it brings to a space. And I always, I don't today, but I usually have fresh flowers
Ah,
in my working environment,
every
because
week,
it's,
every week I have to have
yeah,
fresh flowers. I do.
yeah, yeah,
Back maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, feng shui was all the rage. Everybody was a feng shui practitioner.
yeah,
What do you feel about the placement of certain things? Certain things you want to have more light. Um, and we're not talking from a religious or a spiritual, but yes, from a
yeah,
spiritual space,
yeah,
because you want your space to hold energy. You want it
yes.
to hold love. You want it to hold light. You want it to hold your synergy. What do you feel about placement of furniture?
Yeah, so I'm actually bad when it comes to this because I'm
I
of
don't
this,
believe it.
yeah, I'm of the school. I honestly, I don't pay much attention to feng shui. And the reason being is because I do believe in energy. I bring or welcome that positive energy into my home and my space in different ways. When
Mm.
it comes to, and I can elaborate on that, but when it comes to furniture placement, um, I do it in a way that looks the best visually and
Mhm.
is the most functional for the space. So
Okay.
and that could have to do with the fact that I'm not a very superstitious person, although I am all about energy,
Mhm.
100%. And
Absolutely.
yes,
And
yes.
people
So
get off on that. But you know what I do too, Brains? I move my furniture around.
yeah,
I will move every 6 months. I will move things, even from maybe something from my family room into the living room, from the living room, because it gives it a different feel. It
yes.
gives it a different energy. It's a different space. It's different, welcoming. And you know what? It makes me feel like I've went out and went shopping. It's like when you reshop your closet. It makes you feel those things. So if you purchase things that are cohesive, again, they don't have to be the same color palette or whatever, according to what Dianne is saying. But for the most part, if you can mix and match sometimes, it gives you a different energy. Just to change your comforter, change the shower curtain. You don't have to do a whole renovation, but just those simple things can really brighten up a space.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you really do not have to spend a ton of money to give a space a refresh. Absolutely
Mhm.
not. Absolutely. You know, painting is one of the easiest, most economic ways to do that.
People are
Um,
afraid of paint.
are they?
A lot of people. Oh, I have in the one room, there's a very bright red accent wall. And people were like, how could you do that? I said, it's just some paint. If you don't like it, get some primer, go over it, paint it back to what it was. It's just paint, but paint for $45, $50 can change the room tremendously.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right, you're right, and I love bold, I really do, and when working on a project with one of my clients, I always give them those options, and I've actually been lucky enough that many of them, end up loving it. It just when you and it doesn't mean that, you have to paint the whole space a bold color or a rich color, but even I absolutely love accent walls and what they do for a home.
Well,
I
I'm
just
looking at
yeah,
the wall. We talked about that in the green room. I'm looking at the wall behind you. It's a dark wall. And it's
yes,
absolutely stunning. And it still brings out your colors and your texture. I can only imagine what the rest of the room looks like. But Brains, you see that? My walls are white because again, this is a studio, but I put a lot of different backdrops. But people, they get so nervous. Oh my God, that's a dark color. Dark colors are rich.
yes,
They speak unique.
yes, and that's the thing. I what part of what I love about what I do is showing people different possibilities and
Mhm.
different combinations. So many times they come to me and they already know they have a basic idea of this is what we want to do. We want to do a whole bathroom remodel, let's say. But then they also allow me to expand on their vision, which is so much fun. And it's just and as I said, all decisions are made final decisions by the client. But I love hearing things like, it's so much better than I imagined. I think that is, just such a huge compliment for me.
It is. Well, you are
Yeah.
such a huge compliment to the community of interior design because, again, as I said, my opinion, it's a risky business. You're dealing with emotion, you're dealing with finance, you're dealing with, vendors, and then also your own personal feeling based upon what you know is what you know. And I thank you so much for being here with us on the edge. Please, Dianne, tell my brains how to get in contact with you to go in. I've shared her awards, her page. I will continue to do that, but go in and get a consultation. You don't know what you don't know. And a lot of these things, maybe she could do virtually, give you suggestion. Maybe she has a tier of service for that. I don't know, but we definitely want you to reach out and talk to her.
Yeah. Thank you so much, April. I actually do provide virtual services as well, so available globally. Yeah, so people can. I'm all over social media. My handle is at Dianne Pascoa. So LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, you can find me there. You can also, if you want to take a look at all of my offerings and how we can work together, a discovery call is always free. It's complimentary. You just, go on my calendar, book a time, whatever suits you. The website is dpdesignstudioplus.ca.
All right. Well, we are there for you, and we thank you so much for designing our space and allowing us to level up. Brains, you know what? Freshen up. Freshen up your space. It makes you feel brand new. And thank you so much again, Dianne, for being on the edge. Brains, go and like, love, share, and subscribe. Like, love, share, and subscribe here on the edge. Okay? Get your design right. Talk to you soon. Bye, Brains.